Now, so I'm talking to the ones. Either you're about to get married and you want to make sure that you have success, or the ones who's married and you saying that, man, I don't want to mess this up like Eric did. I'm talking to you, okay? And I want you to make it, but I don't want you to do it by yourself. I need you to make sure that you get your significant other involved. Okay, because ironically, you don't have true success if you're married. You don't have true success alone. Okay, so now that you got them here, now that we all on the same page, I want to talk about the 3 stages of marriage. And the reason why I think this is so important is because if you don't understand these stages, you're going to think that there's something that's going wrong with you. You're going to think that there's something that's either wrong with you, or you're going to think that something's wrong with your spouse. And what I have identified, there's somewhere in these stages is where you start evaluating, and then you start making making changes in your life, because you're thinking that something's wrong with him or something's wrong with her, and then you start making these adjustments, and these adjustments cause you to derail your marriage. Okay, so let's jump into this thing. The first phase, the first stage, this marriage. Well, and let me explain it to you like this. Let me give you. I want you to understand this. What I'm about to explain to you can be found or should be found in a complete continuous flow from day one of your marriage till you die. Okay. Now, oftentimes it's found into 3 phases. Okay, we're gonna identify those phases, but I want you to understand that ideally, if you say, well, what do ideally mean? I say this is how God designed it. This is that that becoming one process that God speaks of. Okay, and if you understand it, my prayer is that if you understand these stages, then when they come, it'll make sense to you. Okay, but that first stage, is I can easily say the reason why you get married, the reason why you got married in the first place. Okay, I think you're gonna receive it better this way. Why did you get married? Why you plan on getting married, newlyweds, or fiancés and boyfriend and girlfriend? Why do you want to get married? Well, because you're in love. See, that's that phase 1. See, phase 1, and why am I married? Why do I want to get married? Because I love my everything, and I love him. So, but in that phase of love, that phase of marriage, man, the first phase is that you're going to get married, or you're going to marry for love. Man, that's a beautiful thing. Now, time goes on. Okay, things change. Now, keep in mind, this is God's idea. This is the original plan. This is how I want you to see it. I don't want you to see it as a separation, although you can experience it in your life as a separation, but that's not how God designed it. So you get the first phase is that you got married for love, and then the second phase is money. And see, I want you to understand what happens is because when you first get married, everything is great. Man, everything is great. Y'all all in love. Let's say that you're 20 years old, 25 years old, and man, you married your high school man, you sweetheart. You married. You just marry the one that you just know you're gonna be spending the rest of your life with. But I want you to fast forward, and say, let's say now you're in your 40s, okay, and let's say now that your kids are all out of high school, okay, you 40, 45 years old, okay, man, then all of a sudden another phase kicks in, okay, that's that money phase, okay, because some things have shifted in your life. And see, if you looked at this thing separately, then right here, I want to let you know that because this money phase comes, this is where a lot of marriages derail. You had the kids that tied you together, and you had a common goal, and y'all worked to see those kids get out of school, and then all of a sudden, kids are gone, they moved out, and now it's just you and your spouse, and you're wondering, what's the next move for me? So you start looking at yourself, and see, what I want you to understand is that, man, this is the part where God said, listen, yeah, it's a different phase, but man, I told you from the beginning that you was gonna have this cleaving part. But what happens is we get to this phase into the relationship, and that phase, we go from the love phase. I got married because I'm loving. Now we into this money phase, and now money is a big deal to you. And see, what I deal with finances, so I know that when you in your 40s, especially in your mid 40s, you have came to a crossroad. You have came to a place where we call middle age, and now all of a sudden you're going to sit back and you're going to look back at the past 20, 25 years, and you're going to evaluate yourself. And a lot of us is going to say, I don't like that. I don't like the past 20 of my years is not sufficient enough for me. So you start thinking about what it is that I can do better, and guys, this is where a lot of us say it's time to derail. I would say in my own personal life that this is when I seen that derail happen, and this is where I seen that disconnect. All hell broke loose, but it was normal. It was to come, because it's just a phase, and we have to be able to recognize those phases, because if we don't, we're going to look at our spouse and we're going to say, there's something wrong with you. And in order for me to get what I want, then I'm going to have to get it outside of you. And so you divorce. And then then you come this last phase. And this last phase is what I call the companion phase. And so we have the love phase, we have the money phase of the relationship, of the marriage, and then we have the companionship phase. And this companionship phase is where you get to a point, and because I'm in this phase where I'm looking at, I'm in the money phase of my life, and I'm looking at, I'm gonna tell you the eyes, and I talk to a lot of my brothers and sisters that's in this same phase of their life, and everything, man, that you can see, everything that you're focused on is money. Why? Because you know, and you didn't even identify. You don't even know what it's called, but you know that there's something coming up, and it's called retirement. And you're saying, man, I got to build this nest right now because I didn't do it when I should have been doing it. I ain't do it in my 20s. I ain't do it in my 30s. But, man, I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. And I have to work overtime. I am doing whatever it takes for me to accumulate this money. And you can literally look at yourself, and you know that you are consciously thinking about, how am I going to make more money? And then you also have a situation where you're going to say, I can upgrade. See, I'm already looking at my spouse and I'm saying, I'm not sure what's going on, but he's here or she's here. And maybe the reason why I hadn't accomplished the things that I wanted to accomplish, maybe it's because of them. And keep in mind, you subconsciously, you're thinking about that third and last phase and that companionship phase. Because when you get to that phase, the only thing that you want to think about is, man, the race is over. Man, we now it's time for us to chill, and now it's time for us to just relax. And when if a person gets to this stage, and you with you with the one that you started out with, man, kudos. That is the most blessed feeling. You know what I'm talking about. Man, you see the couples, and you stop and you ask them questions, and you say, man, how long y'all been together? And they say, man, we've been married for 50 years and 6 years. And what do you ask them? Come on, man, what is the first thing that you want to know? You want to know, man, what does it take to stay together that long? And see, I'm going to tell you, I don't know the answer to everybody, but I'm going to say that they had the ability to lean into the curves together. And see, I think what happens is that each one of those phases give you a curve. And, I think about it, if you're riding on a motorcycle, I had a chance to ride on a motorcycle with a friend, and I like them. I'm not a big motorcycle fan, although I'm a motorcycle fan. I'll just put it like that. I don't think I ever own one, but I always talk about I want to own one. Hey, go figure. But I remember riding on I remember him giving me instructions. Giving me a helmet, and he said, "Listen, we're gonna hit some curves, and when we hit these curves, I need you to lean into the curve with me." So he told me. He said, "Hold on to me." He said. He said, but when I go, he said, I'm going to lean into the curve. He said, when I lean into the curve, I'm going to need you to lean in the same direction that I'm leaning. And I asked him why. He said, because if you don't, man, we're gonna derail. Man, I'm gonna lose control, man. We're going to fall off of this bike. And see, and then I started thinking about it in relationships. I said, these curves, and there's a lot of curves. I'm not saying that these three are the only curves. Man, there are hundreds of curves, and there's some that's tailor-made. It could be sicknesses, it could be job changes. All of those are curves in your life. But relationships that last the test of time, our relationships when they just lean together into the curve. They just lean and they just take those curves together. They just take those curves together. See, what happens is, what's happening is, we get into these points and these places, and we're saying, man, I don't know if I like the way that it's going, and that curve comes up, and instead of you just leaning on in that curve and get to that next stage, man, we derail it because we constantly looking at ourselves and we're asking ourselves, man, is this what it's supposed to be? And I understand that, you may not be the happiest person. I understand that. There's a lot of things in relationship that can bring you pain. But see, when you get into that point where you're thinking about that companionship, because we hadn't got to that last phase. We hadn't got there yet, but we're thinking about it, and it's not a big wonder why most divorce are in that money phase. It's not a big surprise. It's not a big surprise that when right, during that phase, right when, where you're building and you're saying, man, this is my last, set of 40s. This is it for me. I gotta make it happen now because I don't have another set of 40s after this. When you're on your last set of 40s and you start looking at yourself and you're saying, am I riding with the right partner? You see, I need you to understand. I know what you're saying, man, Eric, man, of all the things that you can talk about, man, what is it about this that's so important? Because I need you to understand that you're going to be going through these phases, and if you don't get nothing else about what I'm saying, is just, man, when you pick that partner, man, and you get on that bike, learn how to lean into the curve, the ups and downs of a relationship. Learn how, to just roll with it. You know what I'm saying? Lean with it, rock with it. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to do that because it's only for a moment.